What's happening? It's Ben, and I'm back with another episode of the Communicators. It's the summer, so we are not putting out as much as I would like, but I have been working on a few guests, and I mean it this time. So we have two shows coming up. One is going to be with my daughter, because we're going to talk about communication differences with Gen Z. It's hit a point. There's this long list of words that I know what they mean because I live with Gen Z, but people don't know what these words mean. And I'm all for it because I make up words all the time. And I have no issue with it because I'm from the 90s and I'm Gen X and we came up with plenty of words. But I need some coaching here, and I'm sure some of you do too. So that's coming up. The other one's going to be with, I'm not going to say the guests yet, but they're going to be with two people. We're going to talk about the importance of humor in communications because I think today we could, quite frankly, I'll use a little bit more of it. And they're two of the funniest people I know. So they're going to join me and we're going to talk about the importance of that. So both of those are to be determined. They're not scheduled yet, but you can expect them probably before the end of the summer. I'll say the official summer, okay, not retail summer or Spirit Halloween up in July summer. I'm talking like when it starts to be like not hot anymore. So who knows when that'll be because of global warming, but it's coming. So I'm excited to be here today. This is kind of the July edition. I'm recording this on July 21st. LeBron has not signed anywhere. And I kind of feel like I want to tell Rich Paul, like, hey, man, you're the only one telling people that this shouldn't be rushed. I kind of feel, we're just waiting. It's the fourth time. We know what the deal is. Adam Silver, sure, he wants to make the schedule. And FanDuel and Vegas, they want to set the odds. But the rest of us, hey, we're good. Just relax, Rich Paul. Take it easy. Tell LeBron, take the time he needs. We're not going anywhere, and we'll talk about it when he decides. So, but no decision yet. Um, let's see. We're gonna start with just talking a little bit about today's episode because it's about imposter syndrome, and I think everybody thinks imposter syndrome is so early 2020s, and it's back with a vengeance. I've seen it a lot. I've experienced it a lot and I have some reasons as to why I think that might be. So we're gonna just talk about that. It's gonna be a little bit of a raw conversation, but I think it's important to dig into that. So we'll get to it in a minute. We'll start every episode like we always do. Three things. So the first thing, I'm excited to talk about this first thing because I felt very popular walking around. I was on vacation, a beach town, and I would go out early in the morning and have some coffee and read my book. And I was walking with my book, and everybody that saw me, or when I went into the coffee shop with this book, would stop and talk to me and ask me how I liked that book and how excited they were that I was reading it. And it's Carl the Dungeon Crawler. It's the first book in the series of eight. This guy with a T-shirt that said "God damn it, donut," which, if you're a fan of the series, you knew instantly what that meant. And he asked me how I liked the book, and I'm like, I want that shirt. I'll buy it off you right now. But this book is so fun. I finished the first one very quickly, anxious to start the second one. It's just an interesting concept. End of the world. Guy's outside trying to find his ex-girlfriend's lost cat named Donut. And the world essentially ends, and everybody that's left is sent to the dungeon that an intergalactic conglomerate has created for them to compete in a universal reality show. And there are no rules, and it just takes off from there. So you can enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, but definitely one I would recommend. Speaking of things that were a lot of fun, World Cup, that was a lot of fun. The biggest thing from the World Cup, though, for me is I don't understand what power it holds over me. I I have tried to watch soccer, in these 4 year intervals, and I just can't. But when the World Cup rolls around, I am like obsessed. I'm like, um, I kind of feel like I'm Will Ferrell in Old School, where I just like black out for a little bit answering a question, and that's how I feel about soccer. And when it's over, I'm like, what just happened? Did I just watch like a month of soccer? And I did, and I can't explain it, but it was awesome, and I liked it. I liked every bit of it. So a lot of fun. The third thing, I saw the Odyssey over the weekend, the opening weekend. I don't know how to describe it because people are like, well, what'd you think? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Let me get this out of the way. I loved it. Okay, so that's the first. Let's just 4 out of 5 stars, 4.5 out of 5 stars, whatever you want to say. I love the movie. I love pretty much anything Christopher Nolan does. Um, but I'm not one of these people that are going to get hung up in all these controversies about who's playing who, which I didn't even know existed till after I saw it. Um, because I don't usually read a lot before I go see it because I don't want things spoiled. So I guess the first thing about that is like, I don't know, get over it. I don't understand why people were mad when that was talked about in Hamilton, and I don't understand it now. So whatever. If you don't like that, don't see it. Don't waste your time. But it's so interesting to me because it's like it is a great movie, and every single piece of it is great. There are some performances I didn't like. I don't think it's carried by the actors. I think that's what's tripping me up is it's missing the great acting performance, and that is not a slight on anybody in it because I don't think their goal was to create like some wonderful award-winning acting experience. This isn't Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer. Yeah, this is. I think they were all intentionally almost like reading it. They weren't reading it, but the point of like they were delivering it. They were this vessel to deliver this very concise, very specific script. And I think when you get caught up in the story itself, you don't even notice it. That's how good it is. It's not. I don't think it's supposed to be about the acting, and that probably would be offensive to the actors. But I'm trying to be complimentary about it. That's not really what I thought the point was. So I would highly recommend seeing it. It was fantastic. Let me know what you think and enjoy it. Okay, so today's episode brought to you by the number 43. 43% of senior level leaders are experiencing imposter syndrome. And that is from a couple of different surveys and studies by Korn Ferry Management Consulting. I think I've seen it as high as 70%, but even 43% is high. And that doesn't mean like, oh my gosh, senior level leaders are experiencing it. We better do something. It's like, no, usually they're the last ones to admit it. Okay. And I'll say that like I'm generalizing and I shouldn't. I might be the last one to in my in my pre enlightened era here of understanding vulnerability and trying to portray myself a certain way. I would never have admitted to imposter syndrome, but yeah, of course, I experienced it, and I would tell you I experience it now, which is kind of the whole point of this episode. But the question I thought of is why are people experiencing that? And the biggest thing is I kept coming back to is, and these examples are going to focus on AI because I think AI, in a sense, is a major driver of this, and for a couple different reasons. So the first thing is, I think people like if you go on LinkedIn, and I'll use LinkedIn as the main example because in the world that we're in, and we're communicators, we're very likely professionals in our field in some level at some point have been on LinkedIn. And you get on there and you can't help but fall in this black hole of all these wonderful things people are doing with AI. And you start to think like, well, I should be doing that. Why am I not doing that? I need to be 10xing my max output. I need to be maxing, and doing all of these things. And that's not the case because I don't think those people truly are. And if they are, they would be probably talking about it a little bit differently. But you can't help but be inundated with that. And, side note, a lot of this shit on LinkedIn right now is slop anyway, which LinkedIn is dealing with. So, before you start thinking that, wow, these people are awesome, they may not even be real people, but that's for another day. The second thing is, so people are telling you what they're doing with it. I think just as much as people aren't telling you what they're doing with it, because some people are using it to all of a sudden have these profound insights and sound a lot smarter than maybe they have seemed or come across in the past. And that is, I know, sounds insulting and not meant to be in any way, but it's kind of this way of like, stick to what you're good at. That's why I like you, or that's why we're connected, or that's why we're friends. And I'm not talking about using AI for images and things like that. I do that. Or ideation. I use AI for that. Like if you're spitting it out, we can all tell. We can all see if it's AI generated. We know there's tells. There's tells in plain sight. But you're starting to push out this content that maybe you normally wouldn't have been at a pace that you normally wouldn't have been, and so people start to compare themselves against that and think, I need to be doing that. No, you don't. No, you don't. We don't need more of that, and that's not going to make you feel better about what you're putting out there, or how you are positioning yourself. Another reason, the third thing I think with AI is roles are changing faster than people can keep up. And that speaks specifically to just how fast things have moved the last 4 years almost, where we're trying to learn new skills in these really condensed windows of time. Remember when like prompting was going to be the major thing that you had to focus on? You're like, oh my gosh, I got to hurry up and prompt. And that wasn't even a thing. And now I got to do all these things. And that's very likely driving a lot of anxiety in terms of how we're working in the day to day, is we're seeing our role change, or things that we think we should be doing a lot faster. And we can't get to them, or we're trying to learn, oh, I don't know, at maybe a normal pace and experiment with it and learn through trial and error. And we're not able to have that time in a lot of situations. So I think that's a heavy third one. The fourth one, it kind of speaks to that same thing, but it used to be a way to deal with imposter syndrome is look in the mirror and be comfortable where you are. But now that's hard to do because you're looking at your resume and you're seeing things that people are saying AI can do better and faster. And I'm going to use AI for that. And you're like, well, that's kind of like a major chunk of my resume here. And that factors into imposter syndrome. That's a very real point of anxiety. But at the same time, it's driving a lot of stress and worry over those things may not be as valuable. Well, the reality is it was never about the output as much as what you put into it. So those things aren't going away. Your thinking, your critical skills, your soft skills, all those things are still needed that helped you get those examples on your resume. You're just going to have to use them to get other examples on your resume, which kind of speaks to that third point, that we're trying to learn as fast as we can. And guess what? Most of us are probably learning at the same speed you are. But again, back to where we started the conversation, LinkedIn makes it look a little different. Everybody's doing awesome. Certain people are doing great. If you read close enough, they'll tell you just how awesome they're doing. So, kind of think about how all this works together in this new world of AI, and take a step back and realize the first thing and how we deal with imposter syndrome is what I'm going to tell you right now, is acknowledge it. I have it. I'm saying these things. I know these things, and I go on LinkedIn or I talk to people and I start to feel it. It's real. It's going to happen. And we're all in the same boat with it. And this mentality of, oh, I'm not nearly as good as that, but I'm being like, yeah, I do that too. No, when you get into it in conversations and at a level you really want to connect at, that's what really matters. And that hasn't gone away. So try to recenter on that. Trying to hide from it or saying that, I don't feel that way. It's like, of course we do. You can't help but not. We're human. So that's the first thing. The second thing is what I'll say, embrace your foundational truths. And I've been talking a lot about foundation the last few months, revisiting your foundation, resetting your foundation, building your foundation, because having those foundational truths, those things that matter no matter what, those things that you will always be good at, those things that keep people coming back and talking to you or working with you or trusting you, those things aren't going anywhere. And AI is going to have a very hard time doing those things. I'm not the guy that's going to tell you AI won't take your job. Somebody that uses AI will. No, AI is going to take it, and people that use AI are going to take it. But there are ways to keep it or learn new tasks and do new things. And that is by sticking to what you're good at. You have to apply that into new things. Yes, of course. But sticking to what you're good at or what you're great at or what you have passion in is what's going to continue to do that. And when you center on that, that imposter feeling is going to go away very quickly. The third thing is just kind of embracing reality, and that we probably have to plan a little bit more in our day. We already are worried about it, so you might as well write it into your calendar. Learning and keeping up with everything that's going on, make that a goal. Because guess what? You can learn and focus and read articles and listen to podcasts and try and get as educated as you can, and you've met a goal just by simply trying to keep up. And that doesn't mean burn yourself out and drive yourself crazy trying to learn everything and figure everything out. That means carve out a little bit of time every day where you feel that's your space, that you can dedicate to it and focus on that. If you have a little more time, great, but no matter what, you're going to get that time in to focus on these new ways of learning and these new tools. I guess I was compelled to do this. I don't do the communicators because I want hundreds of views or even tens of views. Not a lot of people view this. I do it because I think as we get closer to the landscape around us shifting, it's important for us to connect at these levels, these flawed levels. I do this in one take. I don't have a script. I don't have high production value. This is just me talking, and that's all I really care about. And if one or two people like the points that are made in it and it resonates, that's awesome. But I'm trying to keep a record of these things now because it's going to swing back the other way. And we're going to have to tap back into the things that make us really strong communicators. And not everybody is. But those of us that are communicators and really focus on that and value that, we're going to be needed. So, imposter syndrome, it's real. Let's just acknowledge it. I'm acknowledging it. We are in the same boat. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying it out loud. It's not you. It is a thing. So last things last. Today's red pen. I'm taking a red pen to jellyfish. My oldest daughter was on vacation with our friends, and this jellyfish just lit her up. It was like all down her left leg, lit her foot up, lit her leg up. Pretty nasty. They sent her to urgent care. She was able to get it dealt with, but she was the fifth jellyfish attack. And I say attack because this thing attacked her. It was like up the leg. It looked like some kind of massive burn. Pretty nasty. So if you watch this and you're heading down south, Hilton Head, Myrtle Beach, those areas, it's warmer. We can talk about global warming again if you want, but we can also talk about the way that the jet streams have changed, and the fact is, or I'm sorry, the Gulf streams have changed. See, I told you I don't one take, and it's a lot warmer, and there's a lot more exposure to beachgoers. So be careful, carry your white vinegar with you, but jellyfish, you get the red pen today. So thanks for listening, everybody. Like I said, if one or two people like this and one or two people want to share, great. If not, we'll be back and try better next time. So until then, see you next time.